Welcome to the Merch Minds podcast, where we discuss everything about the Merch by Amazon business and the print-on-demand industry. Here are your hosts, Glen and Yong.
Are you coming up short on design ideas? Are you tired of going back and forth with your designer on Upwork and Fiverr? Well, I have a solution for you. DesignCandy.io. They're a professional design agency that offers quality shirt designs for just $10 a pop. You don't have to worry about coming up with niche ideas. All you have to do is just pay the monthly subscription of $20, and then the designs are just $10 each. I personally use them. I like the designs. I use the designs. And you know what? You get top quality customer service. So if you want some good quality designs, head over to designcandy.io right now. Mention Merch Minds and you'll get 2 free designs when you sign up.
Merch Informer is the #1 research program for Merch by Amazon. You can do niche research by BSRs, keywords, and even by merchant brand names at your fingertips. You can explore historical data to see exactly what strategies the top sellers are using to succeed. Merch Informer was designed to help streamline your research process and help organize your ideas. Head over to merchinformer.com for a free 3-day trial, and after that, it's just $19.99 per month. Use the coupon code MERCHMINDS for 15% off the entire order. What's up, everybody? Merch Minds podcast, episode number 55. My name is Glenn. This is Young.
Hello.
And we are ready to talk long sleeves, which actually happened right after we recorded the other one. And I don't know, we got the emails. Actually, Young contacted me like, yo, did you get the email?
Yeah, it was really weird because, like you said, we had recorded last week's episode, and the same day that we recorded the episode, all of a sudden, I get this notification saying, you're now approved for long sleeve. I texted you. You were out having dinner with your wife. I was like, dude, I don't want to interrupt your time with your lady, but just let me know if you did get approved for long sleeve by text. You responded by text. You're like, yep, I'm approved. I was pretty excited. It was pretty exciting news.
Yeah, it was pretty cool and good thing to see there. And I think it's a really, really good step forward. I know we kind of like made fun of the whole thing last time, saying how they weren't ready for Q4 and getting the, enough supply and inventory. And then now they just busted out with the long sleeves. So
freaking made us look like a bunch of chumps, man.
So that's a good sign. Oh, but before we talk about long sleeve, you got to let me know. So you got the new iPhone.
I did get the new iPhone 10.
Yeah. So is it worth the hype?
Yo, man, how you go from long sleeve to the damn iPhone?
Well, because you're letting me know that, because you contacted me right with the long sleeve, and I was like, you know what, this guy has a new iPhone. That's why he's texting me. What is going on? How is the phone treating you?
Okay, so I got the 256.
Look at this guy; he's a big baller.
Hey, I'm trying to be like Mr. Hacks. Okay, so I got the 256 iPhone 10. I spent $1,100. Okay,
There goes that merch money.
Merch money, and then with the case, with the protective case, and then the protective screen, that was probably another $100. So basically, I spent $1,200 on this new phone. Okay, and I don't know. I've only had it for a few days.
Okay.
And I haven't even scratched the surface as far as all the new features.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like $1,200 was a little too much for this particular phone. I mean, yeah, the facial recognition is cool. Again, I'm just barely scratching the surface when it comes to the new phone. But man, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm just, yeah, I needed a new phone. I was holding out for this phone. Is it worth $1,100, $1,200? Probably not. But it's cool. I mean, I'm not going to complain. I'm an Apple guy. I'm a loyal Apple guy. I'll always be an Apple guy. But I don't know. like I said, I guess I would really need to dive in and just play with all the new features. I know that the camera is supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
I did a Facebook Live earlier in the group, and one of the more common one of the more frequent comments that I was getting is, "Oh man, that quality is just awesome." That's what everyone kept saying. So obviously the camera is better. They were saying that the audio was good. Um, so yeah, it's something I need to play with, man.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, I did see that though on the group. You did go live.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I guess you can we can see
Now,
you in high quality HD.
I know you've been talking about getting the new iPhone.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get it? The iPhone 10?
I don't know. The thing is like I'm still at like 6 plus, I think. And what the cool thing about it is just that these phones have been lasting a little bit longer than they have been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is kind of cool though, because they used to last maybe like a year and a half, and you're like, oh man, let's get another one. But this has already been going on for like maybe 2.5, almost 3 years. So
Right.
I don't know. I might hold off a little bit, maybe until next year, see what happens. It's not really a must. My phone is a little bit slower, but I don't know. I might just like hold out and see what happens.
Okay. Well, see, I mean, I was long overdue for a new phone because my prior phone before I got this was an iPhone 6,
Oh, okay.
and then that one had died. So then I got a replacement from Apple, and then the replacement was dying eventually. So I was long overdue for a new phone. So again, I spent $1,200 including the accessories. Is it worth it? In my opinion, I probably could have bought the 8.
Yeah.
Not the 8, not the 8. What's the latest one? Is it the 8?
Yeah, it is the 8.
Yeah. I could have probably bought the 8, and I would have been happy with the performance. I think $1,100, $1,200 is a little too steep. But again, I need to really, really just get in there and just kind of figure out what's new and what the capability of the new phone is. I will tell you this: the chip that's in the new phone, the iPhone 10, it's kick-ass. I mean, they're saying, like, some of the reviews that I've seen for the new chip in this phone, they're saying that it's equivalent to a chip to some of the chips in a laptop. So I know that it's capable. Yeah, so I know it's capable of some, of doing some powerful things. I do know that. So it's just a matter. It's just a matter of me trying to figure out what I can do and what I can't do.
Okay, good to know. So everybody that's in the group, look out for Yong. He's in crystal clear HD.
HD, baby.
With his new phone. So if you want to go in the group, you can watch his live shows and help you out on merch. Speaking of merch stuff, what do you want to talk about first? I'm going to talk a little bit about long sleeve, but we can go into that detail. You want to talk about that? I want to talk about the coaching.
Well, let's talk about the long sleeve since we started the show with it. I mean, yeah. So you and I got approved last week. I was really excited. So what I did was, as soon as I got home, I uploaded a bunch of my best sellers onto the long sleeve. That was last Friday, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had a sale yet as far as the long sleeve is concerned.
Okay.
But I think it's just a matter of time before they start selling. How about you?
I started uploading some, but same thing. Nothing has sold yet. I think it's going to take some time to kind of figure out what's going on with long sleeve. What are people into? And at the same time, I mean, their long sleeve shirts are unisex fit, so they're not like for men, for women specifically. So I don't know if that plays a role in there. There's 5 color options available.
And I believe one of the colors, even though they're giving us 5 options, one of them they just flat out said it's, even though it's available as an option, we can't fulfill that particular color just yet.
Yeah, I think it was a heather gray, I think.
Okay, it was a heather gray. Okay. So that's not even being offered at the moment.
I guess the question for you would be, what about pricing? I mean, I just think we're too early to really, I guess, give out any like tips or anything because it just
Yeah.
came out. But I don't know. I've seen people go as low as 25, which you're not. I think you're making maybe like $3 or something like that. Some people going like 28 range. But I don't know. I think it also just depends on the design and, of course, the market. Obviously, short sleeve shirts sell a lot quicker and more people are into that more than long sleeve. So I mean, we're still early, but
Yeah. So I've been pricing all, regardless of whether it's just simple text or some of the more elaborate graphics.
mhm.
I've been pricing them all at $25.99.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that's like $4 and something cents.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was at 20. Yeah, I was at 26.99 range, but no, I mean, nothing has sold yet, so we'll see what happens. I mean, it's definitely cool to see long sleeves out there. I just think that more people wear probably hoodies more than long
I
sleeves.
think hoodies are the popular ones. I think
Yeah.
hoodies are what people are asking for, and I want to say tank tops. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
even though technically we're going into the holiday season, it's fall right now, it's getting a little chilly. I think tank tops are really popular, and I'll tell you why, because my Etsy store, I offer tank tops,
Hmm.
and those are selling all the time. I mean,
So sun's out, guns out.
yeah, and people, and these are people like in New York, where it's a little chilly this time of the year. They're buying tank tops.
That's kind of funny. I wonder. Oh, that's kind of cool.
So yeah, so it'll be nice. If Amazon would have came up to me and said, "Look, here are your options. What would you prefer having first?" I would have probably said hoodie first. But look, I'm not the one to complain. I'm just grateful that they
Are
extended
expanding.
or
Yeah.
expanded into other apparel.
Hmm.
So it was good to see that. But if I had a choice, I would have definitely asked for a hoodie because it
Yeah.
seems like that and maybe again the tank tops are the more popular ones right now.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think over time we'll start adding in some more, I guess some tips and figure out what's working on long sleeve, and we could talk more about it later on.
Yeah, and like
Probably after, yeah, a couple of
no,
months.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't even know what brand apparel that they're offering as far as long sleeve. I don't know if it's uh, Gildan, Anvil, or what's that premium one?
The
I can't.
Bella
What
Canvas.
is it?
Yeah,
What is it again? The premium one?
Bella Canvas.
Yeah, I
Is that what
can't.
it's
I
called? Yeah,
mean, they don't tell you, right? So
yeah.
we don't know. But it looks nice though, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. And I think maybe one of the other things too is just that Amazon still hasn't really gotten to the point to where they could print on like sleeves and stuff like that. So right now it's still like the middle of the shirt. Because if you use like Printful, I mean, you could print on different parts or like a full print on the full entire shirt. And so
Wait
Amazon's
a
not
minute.
there yet. So
Can you print on the sleeve on Printful?
yeah, you can do that on Printful.
Huh. I've never looked into that. That's good to know. I have to go back and look at that. But yeah, I mean, imagine when Amazon at some point, and I'm sure that it'll be a couple of years before they even do something like this. But imagine when like they start offering like embroidery.
I know.
No, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with the market that they own. Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. I don't know how, imagine trying to do prime shipping with that 2 days. Try to get that
Uh,
product out real quick.
oh, dude, they're gonna have all kinds of freaking illegal employees.
Well, I think like what I guess like what Gary Vee said at this point, like Amazon's pretty much growing at a nonstop rate to where the government's probably the only thing that can stop them now. So
Hmm.
they're just like, and then they got their pharmacy license thing too. So they're ready to just take over everything.
Dude, they're taking over the world.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. Long sleeve. shirt. So that was the update on that. What's next?
Yes. So let's talk about coaching. You just had your first coaching session, yesterday, right?
Oh yeah.
How'd that go?
Yeah, went pretty good. Shout out to Kelly. So we did the coaching session, and she's like on 2000 tier. So
Oh, wow.
she's not really like a rookie. She really just wanted to kind of expand and things that to kind of work on, and we went to kind of just like design changes and aspects that I think are very important, and which that's pretty cool too, because this episode I think we're everybody's gonna get really good info on design, because we're gonna talk about typography and what's going on with that, and just some design tips and things that you're gonna go over. So I think that's really gonna be helpful for everybody out there listening to this one. But it was really cool, and I'm just I don't know, I'm kind of interested to see what people are well, I guess what they need help with and what's going on. But for the most part, I can see, and even some of the other ones that I've gotten emails from and everything, I think just design is like a huge aspect that people are trying to improve on.
Yeah, and this is something that we've been saying since the very first episode, right? How important design is, because design is such an important part of the merch business, and yet we're seeing shirts out there that are just, I mean, I keep saying garbage, but I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, right?
Yeah.
They're just so bad. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with just text-based designs, but I mean, there's just more to it than just picking a random font and just typing some random words. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's something that, again, like Glenn said, that's something we're going to discuss today. But yeah, that's great. Awesome. Uh, uh, Shout out. And I was supposed to have a coaching session today, but he had to reschedule for next week. So we'll do that next week. And today's Tuesday. We normally record later in the week, normally on Thursdays, but you're skipping town, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Me and Ken, we're gonna record for Out Hustled 2 on YouTube on my channel. So we're gonna try to find we're gonna go to another city and try to find as many products as possible and
Right.
document that whole thing.
Now,
So
now, now he told me where he's going, but obviously I'm not going to mention it because I want to keep, we want to keep it a surprise for Glenn's channel. But yo, man, when are we going to do our series, man?
you said out merched.
Out merched.
And what do we do?
We just go to different cities and go shoplifting for various T-shirts.
And just shoplift different ideas. Oh, this is a pretty good one. Now you can make this one.
But yeah, so Glenn's leaving town, so we're actually leaving. Recording a little early this week.
Yeah, but for the people that are interested in the coaching, though, how do they get a hold of that? So
so if you guys are interested and we've been getting some really good responses from people. It's just go to merchminds.com. There is a form you guys have to fill out and submit. It is $497. Okay, I get it. There is a fee. Here's the thing, and then we mentioned this when we first announced this. This is not a course. There's nothing wrong with courses. Okay, there are great courses out there. The problem with courses is they're all pre-recorded. Okay, I mean, there's probably courses out there that's probably 2 years old already, right?
Yeah.
And even though that material is still relevant, a lot of it is obsolete too, because merch keeps changing. So this is live coaching that you're getting from me and Glenn. You bring whatever you want to learn to the table, whatever questions you have, and we'll discuss them. We'll coach you on those particular topic. But it doesn't stop there, right? I mean, you have direct access to both me and Glenn. We have the private Facebook group now. So it's an opportunity for you guys to really just learn not just about merch, but about design and scale your business.
Yeah, right now, like we talked about last time, it's just like the perfect time to do it. Take advantage of Q4 right now when people are buying. So if you're having some problems with merch right now, you don't know what's going on, you want some help on it, right now is the perfect time to get into it. So you're ready to go for next year. Take advantage of Q4. Sales are coming in, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Sales and what's going on this week.
Oh man, I wish my numbers could be better, but they're not bad. Let's see, last 7 days, 93 shirts sold for a total of $613.48 in royalty. I'm at the 1,000 tier, and I have 658 shirts live. So the numbers can be better, but I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I think they haven't really they've been kind of consistent lately. I mean, they haven't really gone down from the last week that we talked about how they were up and down. This last 4 or 5 days, they've been kind of consistent, I think. I think I sold like 20 something yesterday, and
yesterday I only sold 8 shirts, which is kind of below my normal average. Let's see, today's been pretty good. Obviously the day's not over yet, but yeah, the numbers could be definitely better. Again, we talked about this in last week's episode. December is when you're definitely going to see the spike.
Yeah. Right now, my last 7 days, 127 products sold. Estimated royalties $628.47. And I guess what tips would you give anybody, or would you even tell anybody anything as far as like now that Halloween is over? I know a lot of people just depended on those Halloween sales, and now that it's over, they're kind of like, well, what's going on now? Because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen like 4 or 5 throttling new messages that came in to me and on different Facebook groups, like throttling is back, guys. And I think it's not that. I think it's just because Halloween's over. And a lot of those sales came from the Halloween designs.
What do you mean you got messages? You got messages from Amazon?
No, from people just saying like, is throttling back because my sales are low again. What's going on? And then I saw some more posts on the groups. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, that I think it's not throttling, it's from Halloween being over. Well, and that was a big boom.
Here's the thing, and this is solely just based on my opinion, and we talked about this in the past, right? I don't think Amazon is deliberately just going to throttle your designs, okay? I think when they do is because they're having some type of capacity issues, okay? They're not going to just deliberately, because just think about it, right? Why would they do that? Like, why would they just purposely throttle your design? Because it makes no sense. Because when you make money, they make money, right?
Yeah.
When they throttle you is when they throttle you. That just sounds so bad, right? When they throttle you, it's because for a legitimate reason. They're not going to purposely just do it. So they're having some kind of capacity issue.
If they did it.
If they are throttling you.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
I just
figured Amazon's like, oh, this is Yong's account. Let's throttle this thing real quick.
Right. I know. Huh? But no, but real talk though. I mean, what do you think though?
I mean, because remember how that one time I tested it out to see like if you're not uploading every day, what's going on with your account? Because it felt like at one point, like the days that I wasn't uploading, sales seemed a little low, and then the days that I was uploading, things would kind of like pick up a little bit. But I don't really think that had anything to do with it either. I just think it has all to do with a combination of the time of the season, the competition that's out there, and how many people I keep on joining merch and adding more shirts, adding more products. And number 3, just like design wise, I think would you have the guts to pretty much say that maybe some sales aren't happening because your designs suck?
Yeah. I think one of the main reasons why you're probably seeing slow sales is, like you just said, there's tons of competition now. Think about it. Compared to last year, all the people that's doing merch now, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
go on YouTube alone. Like everyone's talking about merch, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is tons of competition. So that's why we've been saying this from, ever since episode 1. You need to focus on good design. At one point, you might have gotten away with just having some random fonts on your shirt, but that's no longer the case. You're gonna have to beat out the competition.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. And I think also picking some niches or some ideas that aren't already flooded and
Yeah, and then and we talked about this, right? The niche, is obviously important as well. Um, but you have to have good design. Um, Obviously, keywords is a big deal on Amazon. I'm not a keyword expert. I can only uh, uh, teach you guys what I know and what I do, and it seems to be working.
yeah.
So, but yeah.
All right, very cool. And I think talking about design, that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. I have some 5 topics that I want to talk to Young about when it comes to
Uh-oh.
design and improving and just different aspects. I mean, we talked about design a little bit here and there. Of course, that is kind of tough because we can't, actually show you anything. You can just listen to us. So to
Right.
actually see something on screen, we can't really talk about. I mean, show you that, but at least we can talk about some tips, techniques, some things that I think Young can cover. Why are we talking about design today?
Why? Well, you just brought up a good point, right? Like, I think it's fair to say that the foundation of this podcast is based on design, right? Since you and I both have a degree in graphic design,
Yes, sir.
so I think it's fair to say that again, that the foundation of the podcast is based on graphic design, and we come here on a weekly basis and we talk to you guys about design. But it's such a visual topic. Like, how can we actually talk about design when you guys can't see what we're talking about, right? And I think Joe Clay at one point even said, I have no idea what these guys are talking about. He's like, I'm more of a visual person. And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's a visual topic. It makes sense. So I decided back in May. Okay, I told Glenn this. Okay, I mean we're obviously in early November now. This is how long it's been. I told Glenn back in May. I was like, Glenn, I'm gonna write an ebook, and Glenn's like, oh man, not another ebook. And I was like, no, but listen, this is gonna be legit. Okay, I'm not just gonna write the book. I'm gonna design the book. I'm gonna hire like a professional editor and everything, right? So this has been an ongoing project for me since May. Um, and Glenn's been checking in on me behind the scenes, and I've been showing him updates to the ebook that I've written. And there's been a couple of other people that have seen it behind the scenes. But basically the ebook that I wrote is called Understanding Typography for Merch by Amazon, and it really just focuses on the importance of typography and what you can do to better understand typography.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, we can talk about this all freaking day long, but it probably won't make sense unless you guys see it. And so the ebook not only will teach you the basic fundamentals of typography, but it has tons of visuals and tons of resources. And you wrote the foreword for the book.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I not only designed the book, I wrote the book. Glenn wrote the foreword, and I'm really happy I'm really happy about it. So we're going to talk about the ebook, and we're going to talk about the importance of design.
Yeah, and I had some. So Young doesn't know about some of these topics that I wanted to talk about.
Oh,
but
damn.
but just some of the stuff that his book covers. So I kind of wanted him to just talk a little bit more about these issues and I guess choices and things in typography. Did you want to talk a little bit about? Should we just get right into those 5 topics, or what do you want to?
Yeah, man. We'll get into the 5 topics, and then at the end, we can talk about the price and where they can buy the ebook.
Okay, sounds good. So for the non-designers out there, maybe they're doing their own thing, getting their own designs for merch. What is the difference between a typeface and a font? And what makes this important, I guess, to know this information for merch when they're, coming up with a design?
So typeface is, well, here, let's start with the font first. A font is just a general name for Times New Roman,
Helvetica,
Verdana. Give me some other ones. Gotham, right?
Yeah.
A typeface is what's within that font, meaning there's Times New Roman bold, Times New Roman italics.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Times New Roman thin? Again, we're talking about typography here, but everything's all covered in the ebook, and there's visuals that you guys can follow along.
Yeah, because without the visuals, you're probably like, "What the hell is this guy?"
Yeah,
talking
I mean,
about?
like some of the stuff that we're going to talk about here. I mean, you guys might get a little confused, but again, I mean, if it does sound confusing, trust me, everything is covered in the ebook.
Yeah, and I think it's when they see all the details in typography, it's totally going to make sense once you learn more and more about it. And I think it's definitely going to help people choose, the right fonts for certain designs. So that was like topic number 2. Like you go into detail on novelty fonts, script, black letter, sans serif,
You know what I just
serif.
realized? Glenn, I didn't mean to cut you off. You know what I just realized?
Yeah.
I just mentioned that completely backwards. I just realized. So it's the typeface. That's the general name of the font, and then it's the font that is. And I'm closing my eyes here because I'm trying to remember everything. It's the font that's the italics and the bold. And I hope that makes sense. Now I'm confusing myself.
Well, it's hard to explain it because, like you said, it's more of a visual thing anyway. So it's kind of hard to explain with words on how something looks because it's not like a piece of artwork. It's just kind of like one word. Oh, Times New Roman. How does that look like? So it's kind of hard to like explain that in that type of detail.
Yeah, no, but I completely had it backwards again. My mind is fried right now.
Yeah, it's because of that new phone.
Oh man, it's frying my brain.
And I guess what I talked about with font stuff, what I was talking about a little bit before, novelty, script, black letters, sans serif. You go into details about all of these.
Sounds like someone read the book.
Yeah, he read their book. He knows his stuff. But like when you talk about these differences, I mean, when we talk about it right now, they're not going to really know what you're talking about unless they really, go through it and see the book. But let's say the differences in these. Why would someone, or what makes someone choose a certain font for a certain design? Like why a novelty font when I could choose the sans serif font for something?
Right. Well, so if you attended the Denver meetup, that was essentially the topic of my presentation, right? And in fact, they actually got first dibs to my ebook. So thanks to everyone that attended the Denver meetup and those that purchased my ebook. But here's the thing, and I talked about this just a few minutes ago. You don't just choose a font, just some random font, and say, I'm going to type my message and then just upload it onto merch. I mean, technically you can do it, right?
Yeah.
But it just goes against what good design is, right? So every font has a personality, right? So you should match the personality of that font to the personality of your message. So for instance, let's say I was going to make a shirt that says love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I love you, Glenn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would I want to choose like a black letter font, right? Yeah. Probably not, because those fonts are a little more gothic, right?
Yeah.
Well, would I want to choose like um, like a serif font, I guess you can. It could work. You can pull it off. But doesn't love? I mean, love means like it's very it's a sensual word. It's a romantic word. So why not choose like a font that's a nice script, right? Something that has a lot of curves, and it's just it can relate to the personality of your message.
Yeah. And
Right.
me and Kelly talked about this when we were doing the coaching, and we were just kind of going through just different examples and stuff. And we had there was one of them that we were talking about. It was like a football related shirt. And we were talking about this football related shirt, and then I was showing here like what makes sense with this shirt, and I chose like a typeface that reminded me more of like a Letterman jacket, or like a something that looked a little bit more sports. Maybe you could see it like at the back of a jersey.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a varsity letter, right?
Yeah, something like that. Like that made more sense for
Makes
it.
more sense,
And she
obviously.
was like, "Oh, I totally agree." Like the way we kind of looked at it. And then there was another one that had more of like a graphic that had kind of like it looked more like hand drawn, like a character or something that's kind of a little bit more hand drawn, but it had these little small, I guess, details that you can kind of tell is hand drawn. And I was like, it makes sense to have it match more with this font that looked also a little bit more of like kind of like a hand drawn font, but you can definitely read it. Like it wasn't like all messed up to where you didn't even know what it said.
Right.
But it made sense with the graphic. And I think that's more important, like when you're really looking at your design, what matches with that graphic. You're not going to pick a random font.
And this is something that I also mentioned at the Denver meetup is let's say you have like a very patriotic quote, like from a president, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a very patriotic quote, it has a lot of meaning to it, and you write that quote in Comic Sans.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that message any justice, right? Because now
you look like a clown.
Yeah, you've taken this very serious patriotic quote and you put it in Comic Sans. But now if you retype that message in something like a Baskerville font,
yeah,
right, it looks more appropriate, right? It looks more the message looks more credible now. And again, guys, I know this is we're talking design here, so a lot of it won't make sense. But if you get the ebook, it'll all make sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the third one that I kind of wanted to talk about, that you talk about in the book, is the importance of hierarchy. And I think this is probably one of the most important chapters, just in merch and creating t-shirt designs, period, is the hierarchy. Do you want to go to just like a little bit of detail about that?
Yeah. So I mean, there's various there's various factors when it comes to hierarchy, right? Like, again, we're talking about, well, how can I make my message stand out, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can make certain. Oh, gosh, I'm just trying to give you guys something. I'm trying to say something that will give you guys like a good visual.
So it was a cold, stormy night.
Okay. No. Let's just say let's say, for instance, your wife Gigi made you a Valentine's shirt that says "I love Glen," right? Yeah. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's
she gave me a shirt that said "I love myself."
or you made a shirt. Listen to me.
Okay, I love my wife. What about that shirt?
You made a shirt for Gigi that says "I love Glen." Okay.
Okay.
Now, again, love is a very sensual word. So, for instance, like the hierarchy of this message is, well, what can you do to make this message more credible, right? Well, let's see. You can obviously, you can change the word love into a font that works with the word, like we just talked about. But then you can place it, well, how can I position it so that word love really stands out compared to the other words, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe I can add a color to it that makes it stand out, or maybe I can make it stand out by making it bold, or even adding like a certain effect to it, right? Those are hierarchies, and
because I think you have to really think about what are some of the important
like what's important in that message,
yeah,
and then make that word stand out in that message, right? And there's various ways you can do it, right? You know, you can place it in different parts of the shirt. You can add a color to it. You know, you can change the font a little bit. I mean, if you guys can master that, oh, trust me, your design will be 10 times better than the average competitor.
Yeah, and I think like one of the examples, let's say a random shirt says like trying to think of an idea like powered by pizza, beer, and video games.
Okay, well then, okay, so powered by pizza and video games. Well,
and
I mean,
beer.
And beer. Well, obviously the word power, right? I mean, there's a lot of strength in that word, right?
Yeah.
Powered. Like so you would somehow want to like emphasize that word somehow, whether you use a different font or add some kind of an element to it to add a hierarchy, right? To make that word stand out. And then you can do the same for what was it? Pizza, beer,
and video games.
and video games. You could do the same for those, right? Like place them in different areas, make it a little different so it stands out. So
because like powered by, I mean, by isn't really necessarily the most important word of this whole thing. By, and then
yeah, I mean, by
pizza,
could be small and just like in the italics or something, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no you don't need to emphasize that.
And then pizza, beer, and video games. Well, and is just kind of like our carry-on word that just kind of goes with it to make sense to read it. But and isn't going to be one of our hierarchy words in our design. So I guess something to think about that. Like we said, we're just telling you different things on the podcast to try to like give you the visuals, but there's really no wait until you actually saw it. But hopefully it makes somewhat sense.
I'm hoping. Again, guys, if it doesn't make sense, I'm telling you right now, look, I'm not just saying this because I want you to buy my ebook, okay? I mean, I'll be grateful if you do, okay? I'm not going to lie, but if you guys do buy the ebook, everything that we're talking about will make sense. I promise you that.
And I think going off of hierarchy also I guess leads into like legibility and readability. And this is also something, of course, you talk about. That I think is super important in merch. We talked about it in the coaching part too, and I was like, if I can't read whatever you're trying to come up with like a funny slogan, and you're expecting me to know what that says, and you pick some whack font that I'm trying to like put pieces together to make sense. Why would a customer want to buy it if they can't put it together to make sense? I can't, they can't. It's just going to sit there and eventually get taken down.
Yeah, no, font selection is very important, and this is something that we talk about all the time. Legibility, right? I mean, think about it. When you guys were in college, or I don't know, or if you guys, I mean, everyone goes on the internet, obviously. Like when you guys are on the internet and you guys are reading the news or reading an article, they're purposely written up in a font that's legible for you and that's easy on the eyes, right? I mean, imagine having to read something like in a really bad font. I mean, now it becomes an eyesore, right? I mean, not only is it an eyesore, but you have to strain your eyes, and it's hard work, right? So definitely, font selection has to be good. Good legibility is very, very important. And again, that's on the ebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys like a really, really good tip, and that's the fact that when I was in, I don't know if I learned this in, I think it actually talked about it in both. When I was in college and when I had the full-time job, because I designed a billboard that they created off of I-10, and I would see it, when I'm on my way to work and everything. And one of the things that they talked about when I was creating the design from it is that when someone's driving, they said that they get 2 to 3 seconds max to look at that billboard and to somewhat read it and get the message from it, because they're driving, they're thinking about other things, they want to get home. The billboard isn't necessarily something that they're, focused on, but some people read it, they keep going, cool, whether the message came across, who knows, but they have 2 to 3 seconds. I like to think about t-shirts and going through merch kind of the same way, because Young just got a brand new iPhone 10. He's going through shirts, he's scrolling. You want to get someone's attention with your design, and think about how quickly people are scrolling down if they're looking through mobile on getting a t-shirt design. They're not going to be there looking at, every little detail. They want something that, okay, cool, that I looked at it real quick, caught my eye, I like it, I want to go into it, maybe they're going to purchase it. But if it's like a design that's just going to get lost in all the other ones, you didn't really get anybody's attention, they can't even read it, it doesn't make sense, why go through that when you're creating your design? Does that make sense?
Yeah, first impression is very important.
And did you do any like billboard type design stuff or anything?
I've never done a billboard design. That's why I was like, wow, you designed a damn billboard? I've never designed anything that big.
Yeah, and I mean it was pretty cool to see it, off of the freeway and stuff. But I think it totally made sense when they were telling me about it. Like, if you're, how you're going to create the design, it has to make perfect sense. And now in mobile world, I think you definitely have to get someone's attention, and it has to be super crystal clear, readability, legibility, like you talk about when you're scrolling, because people are scrolling quick, especially like on Instagram. I'm just going like quickly, like, okay, cool, next picture. Mm-hmm. I would do the same thing for shirts. Doesn't catch my eye, I'm just going to move along, go to something else.
See, but I like to always argue that people these days are kind of smart when they're shopping on mobile. Like they know how to. I agree with you 100%. But at the same time, I'm always a guy that I believe that they're smart enough to know how to. If something is really intriguing, that they're smart enough to make it. Like they know how to make that image bigger. I could be completely wrong, but I do agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too, because even going on like the eBay part of it, there's a lot of people too that don't even read the description. And the same thing goes with Amazon. You could say the same thing for like bullet points or the description there.
Oh, absolutely.
If design catches their eye, who cares about the description? Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, no, how many times do we see people complain in the groups when people buy a premium shirt, they're always complaining how small it is, even though it says in the description that they should always buy one size larger.
Yeah.
Right. People don't necessarily read. I agree.
That's kind of funny, but yeah, readability is important, even though some people don't read.
Even though some people don't read.
Yeah.
It's true. I believe it or not, people do not read.
Yeah. And so the last tip that I kind of wanted to talk about, or the last thing about the book and everything, is just, this is probably my fault as far as choosing this topic, but I was like, let's say you are a rookie and you don't know anything about design. How do I choose a typeface? There's like 100 of them out there. That's right off the bat from just, going on Illustrator. Am I just going to go with something that I like, or something like, wait, that looks cool, I'm just going to go with that one?
No, well, it's like we talked about just a few minutes ago, right? It's, you have to really understand what the message is saying. Yeah, right. And here's the thing, guys. Whether you do your own design or not, this book really, in my opinion. Okay, hold on. Before I continue, let me say this. You and I talked earlier this year, remember, Glenn? And when I first told you that I was writing this book, I told you that I was writing this book based on the notes that I saved from college. I even showed you the binder. Remember the binder that I showed you?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what I did was I transferred everything that was in that binder into this book. And then obviously I added some of my own personal comments here and there. Um, so this book is, whether you do your own design or not, this book really is going to give you like the basic fundamentals into typography. I mean, it's not going to make you like an expert overnight. I mean that's just not going to happen, right?
Mhm.
I mean, let's just be real here. I mean, just because, I mean, a professional golfer doesn't become a professional overnight, right? It takes practice. You just have to practice. So, to answer your question, what I'm trying to say is, this book will really introduce you to the basic fundamentals of typography. In order to choose a font, you just have to really just go in there and just practice at it, right? Because you're not going to, I mean, you have to train your eye. You have to know what the message is saying. And it takes time, right? It
Yeah.
takes time. You're not going to get good at it overnight. But I think this book really is going to point you into the right direction. I talk everything about the anatomy of the fonts, which no one even talks about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether you do your own designs or not, you know, to know their anatomy, it'll be good, because even if you don't do your own design, you can at least communicate with your designer, right, and have a better understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So this will, I mean, again, I don't know if I'm answering your question, dude, to be honest with you, but basically what I'm trying to say is, like, you're not gonna become like an expert typographer overnight. It's gonna take practice. You need a good eye. What is your message trying to convey? And there's just so many factors that you have to combine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't just say, oh, if you just do this, you can choose the right font. There's just so many factors that
Yeah.
goes into it.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And for those of you out there that are interested in the book, I just want to let everybody know there's different things that Young does talk about with pairing fonts, kerning, and tracking, measuring type. We talked about hierarchy. We talked about readability. There's a lot of good points in there. What was the? I thought you had some type of deal or something for the people that went to the conference.
Yeah, that's unfortunately no longer valid. That was only for the people that attended the conference. I'm sorry, but it is now available for $37.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll have the show. I'll have the show. I'll have the link in the show notes. But here's the thing: it's $37. Um, I spent half a year putting this book together. Okay, um, but not just that. I'm going to continue to add more to the book. As I find more resources and things like that, they'll be added to the book. And when they do, as long as you're a paying customer, you'll always get the latest version, and I'll never charge you another penny. As long as I'm alive and kicking and I make edits to the book, I will not charge you another penny. You will always get the latest version. Um, so $37, I think that's a small investment to understand, to learn typography. Again, this is there's no holding back. I mean, again, everything that was in that binder that I showed you, Glenn, earlier this year. I
Yeah.
mean, I can literally throw that binder away, because everything that was in that binder is in this book now.
And I think, like you said, it's a small investment for someone that's wanting to, learn more and really grow their merch business. And if you have an account, you're growing it. Merch, we don't know how long it's going to last, but it's very important to get, everything down now, and you can learn more and more about that. So, anything else you
And
want to? Yeah, well, go ahead.
no, I mean, this ebook, it was a project, that, again, it took me over 6 months. It was a labor of love. I mean, you and I have been talking about this for 6 months now. Like I said, Glenn was the primary person that knew about it. Obviously, he wrote the foreword, and there was a couple of people that knew about it. But Glenn was really, he was the one person that I kept updated, hands-on, and I would show him the ebook. I'm like, hey, how does this look? And he would always give me honest feedback. Um, it's easy to follow. And I did most of the graphics myself. There's and there's other graphics that I got off the internet and whatnot, but a lot of the graphics I did do myself. And there's tons of resources in here. I mean, if you guys want to learn more about kerning, I have links that goes to other websites so you can learn more about kerning and things like that. I talk about expressive typography, which I'm not even going to try and explain on the podcast because it's just, seriously, it's like, how do you explain expressive typography? You would just have to see it for yourself, right? And I discuss that in the ebook. I mean, what else? I mean, I talk about contrast. I know Tony at the Denver meetup was asking about what does your ebook cover, how to pair fonts. I cover that. I mean, and again, there is so much more that I'll be adding to the book as time goes on, and as paying customers. Again, I'm a believer of just giving to you guys and not charging you guys a single penny. Seriously, you guys will always get the latest version. I already sent out a revised copy because I noticed there was something that I had to change, and I changed it up, and I sent out a new copy to all the paying customers.
There you go.
So, but yeah, no, this is again, this is it's been a project that took me 6 long months. Again, it's a labor of love. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think people will learn a great deal about typography from this.
Yeah, totally agree. And man, what else I was gonna say something, then I totally forgot. It was about your whole process and how you're building it up. But now, you see, I don't even know what's going on anymore. So, oh yeah, well, I hope that that this whole episode though did provide some value on there from the topics that we talked about and made a little bit more sense when it comes to the design part. And I think that design is going to be more important than ever in the next 2 months because everyone's going to be shopping, and you definitely want to get in on the 2 biggest months of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, if you guys do have any questions, you guys can always tag me in the Facebook group, message me. I try and respond to every message that I get. But yeah, I'm really proud of this ebook, and I hope you guys really do get yourself a copy because I think it will help you guys out a lot.
Yeah, totally agree. Any last words?
No, like I said, if you guys have any questions, just contact me on Facebook or message me, Yong@geekhustle.com. Glenn, how about you?
Hustler Hacks on YouTube. You can email me hustlerhacks1@gmail.com. And for the coaching, you would go to merchminds.com and fill out that form.